Hello and welcome back. And this week we have a name to the podcast. So the name of the podcast is Nonsense Mom Sense. And why I love this name for the podcast is because we're going to be talking about all things mom related, motherhood, anything and everything that's going to pop into my mom brain. I feel like I just want to talk about on this podcast. So then with that, there'd be mom stuff, but then also there's going to be a lot of nonsense because becoming a mom, your life is just nonsense. Like being with kids, they're they are just nonsense. Like I don't even know. I feel like you just get it. If you're a mom, the name just makes sense. So that's what it came down to. There's a few things I'm like, do I switch it the other way, like mom sense nonsense? Do I add an and in there? In the end, I just kept it simple, and that is what we got. So, as mentioned last week, we talked a lot about the 7 different habits from Mel Robbins and for 2025. So if you want to listen to that, that is the very first episode that is up there. It's also on YouTube if you want to watch that and watch me in my basement surrounded by kids' toys. You can see a lot here. This is like a lot of like the toy rotation stuff that is like behind me. And then there's a lot in front of me. There's a lot. We got an ice cream cart. We got Barbie Dream House. We got an IKEA kitchen. We got play stuff. We got everything. Everything is here. So if you want to see that, it is there. But yeah, so this week I thought I'd talk to you about a little bit about myself and just like maybe why I wanted to start the podcast and why I got into content creation. So first off, with content creation, I started, I want to say like before Instagram time. Like it was before Instagram was really a thing. Like I'm aging myself quite a bit right now, but I started because I was working in Scarborough at a marketing job and I just wasn't happy. It wasn't creative. It wasn't fun. So it actually started with like a little Etsy shop, just doing DIY tutorials and stuff. And then I created like a blog. I remember seeing it on, was it some news like Yahoo News or something when I was just like doing daily news search at my job because I was so bored. So I was looking at that and I saw people talking about like DIY blogs and I was like, I love creating stuff. Like, why can't I do something like this? So that is what I did. I started creating a bunch of like DIYs. I mean, I look back at some of those creations, hence the name for the blog, Nell Creations, because my name's Janelle and then creation. So looking back at some of the creations that I made for the blog, and I'm laughing because I remember making some clothes and like skirts or different things like that. And now I look back at it, I'm like, I actually wore that out. I wore that. It wasn't good. They were not good at all. Some of them were so bad. Like, if you go to my website and just scroll all the way back, I'll have to like find a way to share some of this with you guys. But if you want to see, maybe we can do a thing of me reviewing past creations that I've done on an episode as well, because they are just so bad. But that is what I did. I just needed a creative outlet. So that is why I started the blog and then kind of snowballed into everything else with Instagram and YouTube and a bunch of different things. And then I want to say like it really didn't start snowballing or really much because before I was doing fashion content or just like beauty. And once again, I look back and I was like, I don't know fashion. I wear leggings 90% of the time while I'm home. I will put a pair of jeans on to leave the house to feel more put together, to like pick up groceries sometimes or like pick up the kids, to feel a little more put together. But as soon as I walk back through this door, I am putting the leggings back on. So yeah, I was like, well, I don't know anything about fashion. Another thing, like I look back at some of those posts too, like things I bought. I had like blue platform heels. Like I remember like it was a neon pink pair. They looked like stripper shoes. They looked like stripper shoes. I don't know why I wore these. They were so bad. Thank God they are all out of my closet now. But yeah, so you're lucky that I don't do as much fashion content. There's some like mom related or comfy clothes stuff I'll do, but for the most part, I do not focus on fashion. But yeah, it really started when I kind of went into motherhood and I had my first daughter and like pregnancy, it just was kind of a creative outlet for me for doing that. And then just like connecting with other moms and sharing different things throughout pregnancy and throughout motherhood of relatable content. Be like, when your kids don't sleep or when they refuse to eat anything, all that kind of stuff. And just kind of like turning that into like funny reels is almost a way for me to like cope and have that different outlet to do anything because you just literally spoke to talk to an infant all day and it's boring. It's really boring. And when I had my first daughter, I had Everly. She was a COVID baby. She was born late 2019. So she was 3 months old when everything hit and we just couldn't go out anywhere. Like I didn't know the the things that you could do as a new mom. I didn't know there were the early on centers. I didn't know there were mom groups. Like I had no idea about any of this stuff, which I guess is also a good thing because I didn't realize what I was missing out on. But then when I had Adeline, there was so much more. So it's really nice to have that and kind of see the difference of just the two different pregnancies. So yeah, I kind of create content just to keep myself busy and entertained. And that's where TikToks and everything came in. So yeah, that's kind of how I did content creation. But I meant to do like a Q&A and answer that on my Instagram, but maybe we'll do that for next week and we can put something up and we can kind of start with that. That was a little break because Teppermints called and I had to schedule the delivery of my fridge and freezer that is going into my garage because when you're a mom, there's so much extra stuff like extra bags of milk, all that. I can't fit that into my fridge with all my condiments right now. So that has to be in the garage, put away. So that is what that was about. But we're talking next about motherhood and how it changes you. And I want to know from you guys, like, do you find, if you're a mom, do you find motherhood changed you as well? And I'm looking at like not in a bad way, just it changes you, like your different priorities. You have different, yeah, different priorities in life. It's not the same things that used to be when you were younger. You would go out whenever, you could go to, I don't know, you could plan and do anything anytime you want. You just didn't have other responsibilities. So it's definitely a different thing. Like, so it changed me in a way that, yeah, my priorities are different. There's different things that I focus on now compared to before. Like, I would maybe stay out a lot later. Now I want to be in bed by 10 p.m. I don't want to go out and stay out to past 10, 11 o'clock because my kids wake up sometimes at 5 in the morning, like today. And if I go to bed too late, I am tired. So I like to be in bed by 10 o'clock, read my Kindle, relax. Actually, I say be in bed 10. I like to be asleep by 10. Let's be completely honest. That is what it is. I like sleep. I like getting relaxed. So, yeah, it kind of changed me in that way. And it's just finding a new balance, especially going into 2025, which is something that I want to do. Um, and that's just like finding more time to do things with friends or with family, with Adam, without the kids. So spending more time getting back to that, like not just everything solely revolving around the kids. So we've actually been working on that quite a bit. I mean, it's only like a bit into January, and we have a few adult getaways for Adam and I, little planned trips already set out. So that is going to be awesome. So I feel like I'm on a good start for that, for kind of changing that around. And then maybe just like more lunches and like dinners and stuff with friends, like just getting together, finding the time to chat, um, fill each other in on our lives. I know I have some group chats with friends and we just do voice notes. And I find that such a great way to stay in touch with people because you don't necessarily always have time to get together or you don't live close by to each other either. So, but you want to stay in touch and you want to stay updated with their lives and what's happening. So, honestly, if you haven't tried it, voice noting is such a great way to stay in contact with people. And it's so much easier. Like I'll voice note my friends when I'm getting ready in the morning, doing my hair, I'm getting dressed, I'm putting the dishes away, prepping dinner, all those little things. I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just send them a quick note. Or when I'm driving to they got this a lot this week when I was driving to the superstore. My friends got a lot of notes. It's like 7-minute voice notes, just babbling And it's such a great way to talk to your friends, inform them in on your life. And then you get voice notes back. So when you're driving or when you're doing those other main day tasks, like putting your kids' toys away, you're doing the laundry, folding it all up, putting everything away in the closets, you're putting dishes away. You listen to your friend's podcast. I say it podcast, but like their voice note, and you stay informed on their life. And it's so good and so nice. So I highly suggest trying voice noting your friends in 2025. Let's be honest, motherhood is hard. There are things that no one really preps you for, or they can't prep you for. Like you're just not ready for it. And I feel like every stage always has its different hurdles, but there's also the really good parts too, right? So I was thinking even just yesterday how, because my youngest is 3 years old, and Everly was at gymnastics class, and there was like the younger 3-year-old class in there as well playing around. And I was like, it made me realize I'm like, 3 years old is such a fun, cute age. Like, yes, she drives me up the wall with her billion questions, but at the same time, I just want to squeeze her forever and just like bottle up her little voice and keep it forever. Just so cute. So everything tends to have like their pluses and their minuses. Like every stage has their ups and downs, which I'm sure people will tell you about. But yeah, there's some things that are just not easy because like Instagram is a highlight reel. It really is. Like people just show the positive of it all and how amazing everything is. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about the reality of motherhood and some things that drive me completely insane. And I talked about this a little bit on a recent Instagram reel as well. But one thing is overstimulation and the constant questions. That is one thing that drives me insane by the end of the day. It can be, it's like, and they're just curious, but sometimes you just want to say, be like, I don't have the answer. I just don't have it. Like, we got to wait and we got to ask Google. Like, why is this candy blue? Be, just because they made it blue. That's just, that's the way they did it. Or, why is this light on in your car, or why is that light orange? It's like, because they just made it orange. Some cars have it blue. I don't know, like the most random questions. And it's by the day, or the repetitiveness of the same question. It's like you ask the question, they ask the question, you gave an answer, but then they continue to ask it like 5 more times in a row. You're like, i I gave you that answer. Like I don't know how else to rephrase this answer for you. Another one, they ask questions, but they know the answer to it. They already know the answer, but they'll continue asking it over and over again. And this is a little trick I actually learned from my aunt, and it works pretty well. So when they keep asking a question over and over and you give an answer, or they know the answer, I start sounds like, well, why do you think? Why do you think it's blah blah blah? And it actually gets it to kind of stop, and they end up answering the question. So if you haven't tried it, try the trick of, well, why do you think? And it might help save your sanity if the overstimulation and the constant questions drive you a little insane with your kids too. Um, Another thing is, especially in the winter months, staying home. I've realized that staying home weekends and being stuck in our house, the four of us, like my husband and two kids, I guess, and the dog, we go insane. I can't do it anymore. Every day, I feel like I need an outing. We need to go somewhere, even if it's going to the grocery store, or we're going to the mall just to like walk around, or there needs to be some type of outing, some time of something, because just staying in here all day drives me insane. So I've been trying to find other like free activities to do. One really good one, if any of you are in the Hamilton area, is going to Gage Park. So they have an indoor flower or tree, not tree house, tropical greenhouse. That is what I'm trying to say. And it is so nice. I've gone there since the kids have been very little. When it first like reopened up after COVID in 2020, I took out there when we were little. It was like our first like outings. We'd go weekly because it was only open, I think, Fridays or something. So we went every week, and it was just like a way to get out of the house, and it's completely free to go to. So it's a great way to like waste time, because you got to drive there, you got to drive back, you spend time there. Bring snacks. You can have snacks just sitting at the little tables there. So that is a great way to waste some time. Other things, reality of motherhood is mom guilt over everything. Mom guilt can just eat you alive and it can really get you. There's so many things that like it probably doesn't even matter. Like they don't even think, but like my mom guilt, my little mom heart feels bad. So like even the other day I've had a birthday party and I realized everyone was wearing running shoes because there was at like a gym house. I just figured it would be in socks. Like I was like, I don't need running shoes. So she wore her boots. But no, she needed running shoes. And I was instantly like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Like every kid's gonna have their running shoes. She's gonna feel left out. In the end, honestly, it really didn't matter. Multiple kids were just in their socks too. But it's just like, why did I feel guilty over that? Like just so simple of just forgetting running shoes, but you just don't want them to feel left out or yeah, you feel for them. It's a thing with motherhood. You take on everything for them too. You just don't want them to ever feel left out or embarrassed, but you know that's just going to be a part of life anyways, and that's what's going to happen. Also, something I felt guilty of I did over the holidays, I burnt the Santa cookies. I burnt the cookies for Santa. Like, I mean, they were hard as a rock. You could not eat these things. Basically put them on a plate. I was like, "Oh, Santa won't know the difference. He doesn't mind. He'll use his magic powers and he'll fix these cookies." No, I threw them directly into the garbage as soon as the kids went to bed, and there is no way. Those cookies were absolutely terrible. Nothing mom guilt is just not spending enough time one-on-one with the kids or spending feeling I have that time. Like I feel like with Everly, I have a lot more of one-on-one time with her just because she's in senior kindergarten. So she comes home. We have like the 3 to 4:30, whatever time slot, kind of together to hang out. And then we go get Addie from daycare. But yeah, so we have more time where like Addie is not as much alone time or one-on-one because Ev has like different activities that I take her to, things like that. So something I want to find is just finding more one-on-one time with the kids and having that like special little bonding time with them. Last but not least, on this episode of Nonsense Mom Sense, I thought I'd talk about some mom hacks and just little routines that I do just to kind of help make the day to day a little easier and little things like that. So they'll be pretty quick, I think we'll go through. So, first one, I don't know if other people do this, is kitchen scissors. I mean, to cut meatballs or pieces of pasta, ravioli, spaghetti, anything and everything, instead of using a knife and cutting it and it take bloody forever, have a pair of kitchen scissors, just go do 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 do. It is done. It is honestly the quickest thing ever and is a complete game changer in doing that. Maybe this is something complete obvious that people do, but I'm sure there's other people who are like, you know, because I didn't think of this for the longest time, but I love kitchen scissors and now cutting up meatballs is the easiest thing in the world. Next is toy rotations. This is something I should probably get a lot better at and do as well. But like I said, we do a lot of I have a stuff like all back here behind me in the video of different toys, but just spending the time because it really only takes like 20 minutes and rotate those toys out and get their imagination and new things out for them to play with because I find my kids, I don't know about yours, but they get bored. They're like, I don't have anything to play with. I'm like, girl, it was just Christmas. You just had a birthday. There is multiple things to play with in this house. So it's like rotating those toys and getting something new out for them to play with that they haven't seen. It kind of like re-sparks their imagination and gets them going. So yeah, that's something I definitely have to get better at, but it's definitely a good mom hack to do if you have not done a toy rotation. But prepping dinner ahead of time. So not really a full dinner, but prepping so much in the sense of I do this after I pick up Everly from the bus. And then I start kind of like prepping a little bit of dinner or even before I pick her up and have things somewhat set out ready because I find as soon as they both get home, Addie's home from daycare, Ev's home, it's just chaos. They're going to be fighting. They're fighting over a sticker that no one even wanted in the first place. It is just completely insanity in the house. So it's like there's no way I can cook dinner or have it fully prepped with them both running around. And this is something I wish I did especially when they were younger, because I think it would have saved me a lot of my sanity when they played not as much together because Addie was so little. That it would have helped me having things more prepped and put like ready to go instead of they're both being home and me trying to do it like the silly person that I was. It definitely helps. So prepping that and having an idea, maybe it's meal planning or cutting up the fruit and veg ahead of time, putting in those little snack containers off Amazon, things like that definitely help. One thing I'm trying to do this year is waking up before the kids. And I say this lightly because I've only done it twice this week. It is Wednesday, so I could not get myself out of bed today. I mean, it all depends on the night as well, but yeah, just getting up before the kids, having that alone time, I think just helps me just throughout the day, just to have a little bit of quiet time before the chaos begins in the morning, even though they do leave the house eventually and it's going. But I like to wake up, do a workout, have a little bit of coffee or tea, and kind of get like my blood flowing, I guess, in the body before they wake up. And then I'm not waking up in the morning and they're instantly up, like waking me up. And then it's just like go time. And I find that just makes me more of an angry mom, or I just feel more like frustrated with them. I get like a shorter fuse. So having that time by myself, I think definitely helps. And I think it just makes me a better mom, to be completely honest. But do I like waking up and setting my alarm at 5? No, but I know it helps and definitely something I want to start doing more. And like I said, I say it lightly because it all depends on the day. Like there's nights where the kids just wake up constantly, and there's no way I'm going to be getting up at 5 a.m. Like there's just no way that's going to happen. So you really kind of play it by ear, and some days it works and some days it doesn't. Lastly is a nighttime routine. So this is something I didn't do for the longest time and something I honestly wish I did do before, like especially when Adeline was little and I was feeling like very overwhelmed, overstimulated from a lot of things. I just felt like there's always something on the go, and I just felt so like over my head, like drowning, right? And that is putting the dishes away, cleaning up the kitchen, the toys away, getting the lunch prepped, like Ev's lunch for school, all that kind of stuff, clothes laid out, everything the night before. So the morning of for school, I'm not running around in the morning trying to like unload the dishwasher, then like get the dirty dishes in. I'm not trying to make her lunch all at the same time. It's not like all those like little to-do lists that I have in the morning are already gone because the clothes are laid out, the dishes are done, everything's done, and I can just solely focus on getting them breakfast and even getting myself breakfast. And honestly, it's a game changer. But there's also nights where it's like, I'm so tired, I don't want to put these dishes away out of the dishwasher. But I know it's just going to make me feel better in the morning. So I do. It's like a 5-minute task. And it honestly makes such a difference for me. And even having Everly's lunch done the night before too is just seriously helped. And I suggest trying it because it made a difference for me. And I don't know if you guys do that with your kitchens or space, but I like going to bed with a tidy space and a clean area and not waking up feeling like I instantly have something to do or a space to tidy up. It makes a world of a difference. And that concludes the second episode of Nonsense Mom Sense. Thank you for sticking around. I feel like this one was maybe a little more all over the place. I'm still trying to get better at figuring out how to write out the notes for everything and do a podcast. So please bear with me with that. If you guys have any topic ideas that you want to hear talked about or discussed on the podcast or questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram and we can kind of go from there. And like, I'd love to know you guys' feedback on different topics. And that is that. I'll see you guys or hear you guys. I don't know. I'm so used to see you guys because usually I've done YouTube, but I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.